Hello everyone, Daniel here with another book review. I will be reviewing this book today, Microsoft Azure for Dummies. Get a roadmap to core Azure services, discover how to migrate to Azure, and apply the latest security to keep your data private on Azure. On my personal aspect, I'm starting a new project where I will be using Azure. I'm more familiarized with AWS, as you know, or as you probably know, I like very much the Dummies collection when I want to learn something from scratch because I think they cover all the basic aspects on a very familiarized way. So in this case, for me, which will be new working with Azure, I think this book it's very interesting because gives me a lot of understanding on an easy ways. So let's review the book. The book has 6 parts and 18 chapters. So let's review each part and each chapter. On the chapter 1, it's obviously all the introduction and getting started with Microsoft Azure. So the introduction to Azure, some review of cloud computing, the understanding, the introduction to Azure services, how the subscription with Azure works, and the staying current with Azure. Chapter 2 covers exploring Azure Resource Manager, how the Resource Manager works, getting familiarized with the Azure regions and the management tools, and the CLI and the scope installation. The second part of the book covers the deploying infrastructure services to Azure. So how do you manage all this store in Azure, so the type of data storage that they are in Azure, how do you work with the account of those storage accounts, and the Azure Disk Storage. Then it comes on the virtual network topology and the planning for the VPNs on Azure. So understanding the virtual network components, the creation, configuration, connection, and deploying of the virtual networks, beginning to virtual private networks and gateways. The chapter 5 covers all the configuration for the virtual machines, the VMs, so the planning, the recognition, the architectural, the cost savings, the deployment of the VMs in the Azure marketplaces, and all the configuration for the virtual machine, how do you start, stop, and reset the virtual machine, and how to use it with the virtual desktop and the extended capabilities for the virtual machines. And then it's come with the shipping of Docker containers in Azure. So how Docker works in Azure, how do you implement Docker containers in Azure, how do you store the Azure Container Registry, and a little introduction of the Kubernetes services in Azure. And finally, how do you use the containers in Azure for your app services? The part 3 of the book, it starts working on the deploying platform resources for Microsoft Azure. So all the deployment and configuration for the services, how the app services work, deploying the first app, the configuration of the web app, and the monitoring of the web app. Then it comes to running serverless apps in Azure. So it starts with the definition of serverless, how do you work with all the Azure functions, building workload with Azure Logic apps, and then how do you manage the databases in Azure. So how do you revisit the IaaS versus the PaaS question, comparing relational and non-relational databases in Azure, implementing the SQL databases, and implementing the Azure Cosmos database, which is the predefined from Azure. On chapter 10, we have using the data analytics and machine learning in Azure. So it gives a little understanding of how the tipping into data analytics goes in Azure, the IoT in a nutshell, which is like a fast understanding of IoT in Azure, and accessing Azure machine learning and cognitive solutions. And finally, the part 4 provides high-level availability, scalability, and security on the resources of Azure. So how do you protect the environment, all the core security tactics, protecting the storage accounts, protecting virtual machines, protecting apps, protecting databases, managing all the identity and access to the Active Directories, understanding the Active Directories, creating users and groups, configuring the role-based accounts, and working with the multi-factor authentication, and finally all the implementation of the governance for Azure, so the taxonomic tags, the policies, the security, privacy, and trust. And then going beyond the basis of Microsoft Azure, so you discovering the DevOps in Microsoft Azure, introduction to the DevOps tool, How do you collaborate with GitHub in Azure, the automating Azure Dev Test Labs, monitoring the environments, the Azure Monitor, the logs analytics, the monitoring tweaking to Azure Speeding, the Azure Advisor, and all the extending on-premises environment to Azure, all the data migration, server, hybrid, introduction to Azure Arc, or all these services from directly from the Azure Cloud. And in the part 6 is the part of the 10th, so the 10th Azure Technology Opportunity to Watch. Focus is a very interesting chapter because it covers a lot of different things between the hybrid and multi-cloud, increased uses of event-driven separate solution, all the artificial intelligence and edge adoption, emphasis on zero trust security, transforming through hyper-intelligence automation, bringing data analytics mainstream, maturing of IoT and cognitive services, building vertical solutions in the cloud, pushing low and no-code development, environmental sustainability. And the last chapter, it's all the 10 ways to optimize Microsoft Azure environments. So all the levers to start button from the virtual machines, the right side capacity and storage, using the spot and vSeries on virtual machines, tidy your Azure environment, avoid disaster, all the monitoring, maximizing, using elastic database pools, promote cloud native features first, and all the capacity using the reservations for Azure. So as you can see, the book it's very covers a lot of stuff regarding the Azure cloud. If you are new to Azure, probably if you're new to cloud computing and you want to start having more a more deep understanding on Azure, this is a very good book. As I told you from the beginning, I'm a very big fan of the Dummies collection because it's very easy to read, and they gave an easy, understandable comprehension of the things that you need to learn. So, as always, let me know what do you think of this book. I'm going to leave the link so you can buy the book on Amazon. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and see you until the next book review. Thank you all. Bye bye.